When it comes to the NBA, we know that players can make a huge difference no matter where they're drafted. When we got guys like Jimmy Butler, who this year proved to be an NBA superstar player, it didn't matter where he got drafted. I believe he got drafted at 28 in the first round. But we saw what kind of impact and difference he makes in this league. And the same thing can be said about this NBA prospect that's right behind me that we're going to be talking about in our NBA Draft Profile series here on The Charge. Now, the one thing that I can't say about Issac Okoro is that he is a gamer and he's ready to ball out. And before we talk about Issac Okoro and his strengths, his weaknesses, other things like that, his shooting charts, the one thing I need you guys to do is hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and also remember to hit that like button. Like we talked about, likes, engagement, it allows the community to grow and develop, and we want this community to be so organic, something that a lot of places want to go to when it comes to their NBA news. We're tired of the ESPNs, we're tired of all these media networks that aren't really focused on the specific sports, and they just kind of have people going back and forth. And not saying that I'm some sort of expert or anything like that, but I think community is what really helps us get together and really helps us get along and talk about the things and the issues that are really important to us. And of course, the mock draft is important to many fan bases, as he could potentially be a future superstar player for that franchise. And like I talked about, hit that like button. Also remember to hit that subscribe button. Also, guys, we have some merch now. If you guys are interested in merch, let me know in the comment section. I would love to kind of get that stuff started. And if you guys are interested, hit that comment section of YouTube and let me know. But nevertheless, enough of the shameless plugs, enough of the merch gimmicks. Let's talk about Issac Okoro as an NBA prospect. But before we do that, let's play the video a little bit and have that playing in the background as I talk to you about my man, Issac Okoro. Now, Issac Okoro is a 6'6", 220 guard out of the University of Auburn. The cool thing about Issac Okoro is that he actually has a really long wingspan, about a 6'8" to 6'9" wingspan, and is kind of the reason why he's seen as the best defensive prospect in this draft. The fact that he's able to get about 0.9 steals a game, but also, it doesn't come down to steals, it comes down to deflections, where he's able to attack the passing lanes. And that's something that Issac Okoro can do really well for an NBA team looking for someone who could be the next potential 3-and-D guy that could give them a boost when it comes offensively and defensively. Because he has such a long wingspan, because he has such an NBA body at this moment, he finishes 61% around the rim in college. Now, let that sink in. Those are center numbers that finish around the rim. I mean, I wish I could show you guys this chart. Maybe I'll find a way to show this chart. But he finishes 61% around the rim, which is amazing and tremendous for a player who's only 6'6", because we know that 6'6" isn't necessarily tall, but we see guys like Jimmy Butler and many other type of players like him that are able to finish because they have such a long wingspan. Now, because he has that long wingspan, I believe that he is able to guard 1 through 4 when it comes to the NBA. I think that he could guard the tweener type of players. You have guys like Aaron Gordon and Jonathan Isaac. I think he can guard those type of players, and I think that because he has such a long wingspan, because he's able to finish around the rim, and I think that he's going to be a good player going on from here on out. Now, when we also talk about Issac Okoro, another strength that we can say about him, and like I talked about, we'll talk about the strengths, the weaknesses, and many other type of situations. The one thing we can say about it is he is got the NBA size and body. Like, that's something that can't be disputed. Like I said, 6'6", 220, he's ready for the NBA. I'm sorry. If you're that tall and that strong, then I think that you are NBA bound and you will be an NBA player. And that's something that he's obviously going to be, as he's predicted to be top 10, and we'll kind of look at that as we continue talking about Issac Okoro and what he could potentially do in the NBA draft. Now, another strength of his is that he's able to pass and dribble, something that I wish that YouTube would allow me to show highlights, because I'm not trying to steal the highlights. I'm just trying to show you guys the highlights of Issac Okoro, because those go-ahead passes to his teammates, that's something that a lot of players in today's game don't really do a good job of. And I think that if players were allowed to grow and develop, I think if under the right coach, you're going to be able to see tremendous growth and different types of situations where Issac Okoro's ability is something that a lot of teams don't really have. And that's something that, Issac Okoro can be proud of, is like being able to do that, because like I said, not a lot of high school kids, I should say, do that. And, you know, because he's such a good player, you can see why he's in the NBA, because he makes the smart passes, because he does the easy things. He's a bucket getter. He's someone that will attack the rim. I mean, that's something that a lot of NBA teams are clamoring for. And continuing looking at him, you know, he's often, you know, in those situations, because he finishes 61% around the rim, it's going to be a quick dump off. I mean, he dribbles in, little pass to the wing, to the corner, doesn't matter, across the way, and you know, he's got assists going to many of his teammates. I mean, obviously only 2 is not very much, but I still think that he's able to do a lot going to the NBA from here on out. Now, of course, with every strength there is a weakness, and one of the weaknesses to Issac Okoro's game is, of course, when looking at his shooting chart, the one thing that we can say is that he is definitely not a wing or corner type of shooter. I mean, especially on the left-hand side, it is very low at about 25%, 30%, and, you know, the highest being 38% from the right corner. The one thing is, in this league, you have to shoot, and that's something that Issac Okoro is going to have to work on if he wants to be an NBA player, you know, especially a usable NBA player, because unfortunately, unless you excel in passing, unless you excel in everything else, like, it's one of those things that the NBA is a really strange thing. You have to shoot. Whether you're going to college, whether you're going to the high school, even high school, you have to start shooting the 3 at a really early age, because even though in high school it's a little easier, you can get away with it because there's not constant NBA shooters. The thing is that because these other leagues, colleges, European leagues, they all demand that you shoot the ball, and because Issac Okoro is not a great shooter, that is definitely a tremendous weakness, and he's very inconsistent. The jump shot, it looks stiff, it doesn't look fluid, and I think he needs to work on it. Let me kind of see some Issac Okoro like jump shots really quick and see if I can get something kind of going. See here. Trying to see if there's like a shooting workout that he did. Sorry, I'm kind of doing this on the fly, guys. I would love to just kind of look at his highlight film a little bit. Shout out to Inside the Edge for this highlight. Like that, I mean, the shooting form isn't too bad in this situation. I mean, let's kind of look at it again. It's almost kind of Ray Allen-esque, the way that it's kind of a quick snap of the ball, but at the same time, it's one of those things that, you know, he's not consistent with it, and that's something that he's gonna have to learn to be consistent with. Is just a jump shot that he's able to just kind of go up and shoot, and that's something that I think a lot of kids struggle with to this day, is that you just need to go up. It's all about going up and straight, and the problem is that I think he tries too much to kind of either mimic a player, or he's doing too much of the quick and then snap. It's kind of one of those, you have to let it flow and then go, and I think that's something that he will definitely work on, but it's very stiff, and I think he needs to work on it. And, you know, shooting 28% on a catch and shoot, that's got to go up. You know, catch and shoots are ultimately situations where you break the defense down and you're able to get a clean look off, and because he shoots 28%, that's just not going to cut it in the NBA. You need to shoot better than you need to be at least like 32, even 34%. And if you're not 34% from 3-point land, then teams are going to be like, do we really want to get him? I mean, like, I know he's a young player, but teams are going to really question whether or not it should be worth getting a pick over, or should he even be worth a pick, continuing to look at it. But nevertheless, I think that's kind of a weakness. Another one is that he's an over dribbler, and when you're an over dribbler, you're susceptible and prone to turning over the rock, and that's something that is going to cost him dearly when it comes to going to the NBA. Even though in the strengths we talked about, he's a great dribbler and passer, he's a great dribbler going to the rim. But when it talks about, you know, the okie dokes and the dancing and all that stuff, it's just not, it's not something that you want to see from Issac Okoro, and he's something that he needs to work on a little bit more in tightening that handle. Kind of talking about his college stats really quick. He was about 13 points a game with 0.9 steals, 0.9 blocks, 2 assists, 4.4 rebounds, and of course 29% from 3-point land in college and 51% overall from the field. Free throws about 67, so that's going to be something that he also has to improve. And I think when we talk about NBA comparisons for Issac Okoro, as we look at some places where it's looking like where he's going to get drafted, one thing is for certain, they have him on some mock sites as San Antonio is where he's going to go to number 11. I feel like they already have a type of player like that in Lonnie Walker, so I'm not sure if that's going to be the best situation for him as we continue to look at where they have him. As you can tell here, they have Issac Okoro in that number 11 slot, and that's just the type of mock draft that we're looking at going from here on out. We can kind of look at the next mock drafts, but let's kind of look at other mock drafts really quick to kind of show you where Issac Okoro could be going as it pertains to, where some people have him. Some people have him at 11. Some people have him as high as 8. And that's kind of the interesting prospect of Issac Okoro. When we talk about ceilings and where he could potentially be, I think his ceiling could be Jimmy Butler and Andre Iguodala. I think that he has that type of ability to, if he really works on the jump shot, could be a tremendous player. But he also could be another Stanley Johnson. He could be another type of one of those like small forward-esque type of players that are supposed to be 3-and-D but just aren't good enough. And I think that's kind of the risk that you run with Issac Okoro. Even though he is an 18-year-old, he will grow up. I think he's 19 actually, but he'll grow up. He'll be a player that will tremendously grow as the series and as it continues to move on. But the worrying thing about Issac Okoro is, like I said, his three-point shooting. If he can't get that up, that is going to be a huge problem for him going into the future, because if he's not able to shoot, that means that he's not going to make it. He's not going to be in this league for very long. And we know that the NBA is a very short career, and in order to be in this league for a very long time, you're going to have to shoot the ball. And that's something that I think he's going to have to work on as we continue to watch Issac Okoro. And as for my final thoughts, as I look at Issac Okoro and I look at the rest of the field, as being one of the best defensive prospects, I think I do like Issac Okoro a little bit more than guys like Killian Hayes, guys like Danny Avdija, guys like, I haven't really watched Halberton, so I need to watch him a little bit more. But I do think that he is a decent player, and I think that he will tremendously go up as it continues looking at what players are potentially going to be this next superstar S type of player. Like I said, Issac Okoro could go as high as 9. Some people have him at 8. Some people have him at 7. But he's definitely a top 10 pick because of his age, because of his ability to finish around the rim. He will definitely be a player that we could see potentially grow and develop and become this next, maybe Kawhi Leonard, maybe, like I said, maybe the next Iguodala, maybe the next Jimmy Butler, but who knows? He could also be the next Stanley Johnson. It's going to depend on what team he goes to. And if he's going to the Wizards, let's just say I'm not confident that the Wizards are going to develop him unless they're deciding to go a complete rebuild, or if they have a great, tremendous kind of staff to help players grow and develop each and every time. But nevertheless, guys, that is going to be it here for The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors, and also mock draft predictions on what players, and looking at the draft profiles of each and every player that we're going to be talking about until the NBA draft is going to start. Anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again. Remember to hit that like button. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you're new. Guys, we're dangerously close to 1,000 subscribers. Can we get there by the end of the year? Let me know. And anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next draft profile. Peace.